There have been many UFC fighters who have made some major changes in their UFC careers, where they have developed great physiques and had better performances inside the octagon. Some of these changes have gone well, and some changes haven't gone so well. So here is 5 fighters who have better physiques now than they did before. Number 5. Michael Bisping started his mixed martial arts career fighting as a light heavyweight, where he put together a UFC record of 5-1 before dropping down to the UFC middleweight division. Whilst fighting as a light heavyweight, he had a very bulky physique where he had a great strength advantage over his opponents. After suffering his first loss against Rashad Evans, he made the drop down to the UFC middleweight division, where we saw a much quicker and leaner Michael Bisping. There's a huge difference in his physique and his performances inside the octagon, but over time, he has become strong in all areas of the fight game. After having many ups and downs in his UFC career, at UFC 199, he finally achieved his dream of becoming a UFC champion. Number 4. Rashad Evans is the former UFC light heavyweight champion who is also the Ultimate Fighter Season 2 winner. At the end of 2013, he was sidelined due to a number of injuries. After spending 2 years away from the sport, he made a comeback and lost a unanimous decision to Ryan Bader at UFC 192. He next lost to Glover Teixeira at UFC on Fox 19 and decided it was time to drop down to the UFC middleweight division. Whilst making the transition, he posted a photo on his Instagram showing his ripped physique. As you guys can see in this comparison, you can see there's a major change in both physiques. He made his middleweight debut against Dan Kelly at UFC 209, where he lost the fight by a split decision. Even though his middleweight debut was unsuccessful, he still wants to stay in the weight class and is determined to finish his career with the win. Number 3. Lyoto Machida is the former UFC light heavyweight champion who has fought all of the top competition in the UFC. After fighting at light heavyweight for a majority of his UFC career, he wanted to start fresh and made the drop down to the UFC middleweight division, where we saw a great change in his physique, where he was a more faster and more elusive Lyoto Machida. He was quickly able to string some wins together and fought for the UFC middleweight title. His physique looked great and had put together some great performances at middleweight. However, he was last pulled from his fight against Dan Henderson at UFC on Fox 19 after he admitted taking a USADA banned substance and is currently suspended. He will be eligible to fight in late 2017. Number 2. Nate Diaz has always fought top competition in both the UFC welterweight and lightweight divisions. In 2015, he was planning to leave the sport and was not happy with the UFC. After nearly a year off, he was set to face Michael Johnson at UFC on Fox 17. Michael Johnson was on a 4-fight winning streak and was very close in getting a title shot. Nate Diaz came in motivated and in the best shape of his life. He completely shut down Michael Johnson's game plan, where he showcased his boxing skills to win the fight by a unanimous decision. He next went on to defeat Conor McGregor at UFC 196 and would next lose to Conor McGregor by a majority decision at UFC 202, which became the biggest pay-per-view in UFC history. Number 1. Jon Jones is the former UFC light heavyweight champion and is considered to be the best pound-for-pound fighter ever. After he successfully defended his UFC light heavyweight title against Daniel Cormier at UFC 182, he was involved in a hit-and-run accident and was stripped of his UFC light heavyweight title and was suspended indefinitely. Whilst on the sidelines, he developed a passion for powerlifting, where he went from a slim physique to a ripped, muscular physique. Many had questioned that this new physique would affect his performance inside the octagon. When he faced Ovince St. Preux at UFC 197, we saw a more hesitant and patient Jon Jones, where he earned himself a unanimous decision victory. I believe his performance was due to ring rust, not his powerlifting. He is currently serving a USADA suspension and will be eligible to fight in the summer of 2017.